back again to Ask IITians. Now, in this today's class, we'll be discussing something about buffer solutions. So, I told you in the previous class also that whatever we had done till this part of the time, all the knowledge will be used in today's class for the buffer solutions. So, buffer solutions is actually an application of whatever we had done till now. So, be very careful while listening to the lecture which I'll be taking today on the basis of buffer solutions. So, let's start with the lecture now. Now, to talk about buffer solutions, I say that a solution whose pH is not altered to a great extent by the addition of a small quantity, either of acid, that means H positive, or of base, is called a buffer solution. To get the physical feel of what actually buffer solution means, I say that, let's say you have a solution and I call it as solution number A. If I say that to this solution you add a very small amount of acid, that means you are going to add acid. If I am saying we are going to add acid, that means we are going to add H positive. So, if you are adding H positive to any solution, the pH of the solution should change. But similarly, if I say you are going to add OH minus to this solution, the pH should change. But buffer solutions are a specific kind of solutions on which if you add a small amount of acid or if you are adding a small amount of base, the pH doesn't alter. That means there will be a very slight change in the pH, but it will not be a very good change. That means the pH of the solutions will be maintained. Let's first of all discuss what are the characteristics of buffer solution. We say that a buffer solution must be having a constant pH and its pH should not be changed on long standing. For example, if you are allowing the solution to be kept for a long time, then also the pH of the solution should not change. If any solution follows this thing, then only we call it as a buffer solution. Thirdly, the pH should not be changed on dilution also. For example, if you are diluting the solution, the pH should almost remain the same. And the last but not the least, I'll say that its pH cannot be changed to any great extent on the addition of a small quantity of acid or bases. So these are the four characteristics which you have to keep in mind, because if these characteristics are kept in mind, then only we'll be able to start up what actually the buffers are. Now to continue the discussion further, I say that the buffer solutions are actually of two types. One are our simple buffers and the another second category are the mixed buffers. Now let's discuss all these kind of buffers in little more details. First of all, we'll talk about the simple buffer. What do we mean by a simple buffer? I say that a simple buffer is nothing but it is a solution of just one compound. Let's say we have a salt of weak acid and a weak base. That means now we have gone back to the third case of a salt of a weak acid and a weak base. Let's say for example, a weak acid I am taking is CH3COOH and a weak base I am taking is NH4OH. So when I am mixing these two solutions, I say that whatever salt you will be obtaining, that is nothing but CH3COONH4. So now in this case, both the acetate ion and the ammonium ion which are there as a component of salt, both these will try to undergo the hydrolysis reaction, and if they undergo the hydrolysis reaction, the pH of the solution will be such that even if you add a small amount of acid or if you are adding a small amount of base, the pH of the solution will not be altered. And for any such kind of solution, the pH is usually given by the formula where pH is equal to 7 plus half of pKa minus half of pKb. So for example, you have considered an acid, let's say acetic acid, which has a pKa value of pKa. And let's say if you have a base, for example NH4OH, and it is having the pKb value as pKb. Now, any solution which is made by mixing a weak acid and a weak base will be known as a buffer solution, and the pH of such solution will be given by the formula 7 plus half of pKa minus half of pKb. Now, this formula can be very easily derived as we have done up in the earlier cases. So, we can derive this formula, else this formula will be used directly in the questions. Let's now move over to the second type of buffer solutions which we had described in the earlier slides, which are known as mixed buffers. Now, what do we mean by mixed buffers? These are the solutions of more than one compound. If I am talking about more than one compound, that means these can further be defined into two classes. We can either have acidic buffer or you can have a basic buffer. Now we'll discuss in detail what do we mean by acidic buffers and how we are going to find the pH of such solution. Also we'll discuss in details what do we mean by basic buffer and how we are going to find the pH of a basic buffer. Let's first of all start up with the acidic buffers. We say that the buffer action of acidic buffer can be explained, for example, with the following equilibria which I have established. We'll say that you are taking a salt and the salt is, for example, CH3COONA. That means this is a salt of a weak acid and a strong base. Now you are putting this salt in another solution of the same weak acid which is common to this salt. That means I'll take a solution of CH3COOH, which is another weak acid, and I can say that now my solution contains CH3COOH, which is a weak acid. Also it contains a salt which is CH3COONA, which is a salt of weak acid plus a strong base. So any such solution so obtained will be called as a buffer solution, and this kind of solution will be found to have a constant pH even if you are adding a small amount of acid or a small amount of base. Now let's consider what are the reactions taking place. I can say that the acetic acid will always be in equilibrium with H positive and CH3COO minus. Moreover, since CH3CONA is a salt, so it gets completely dissociated to form Na positive and CH3COO minus. And there is water which is present and it will also be in equilibrium with H positive and OH minus. So overall, if you take into account, we say that this Na positive, it doesn't get hydrolyzed in water because it is a component of a strong base. So the only reaction which is taking place in this case is nothing but how CH3COO minus is going to react with water and is going to allow the following equilibrium taking place, which is CH3COOH plus OH minus. And if I write this thing and if I continue with the derivation, I can say that since we can say CH3COOH on reacting with water occurs in the equilibrium as CH3COO minus plus H positive, I can say that the Ka will be, you will have CH3COO minus H positive to be divided by CH3COOH. If it takes place, can I get the value of H positive aside? Very easily we can get the value of H positive aside. I can say that H positive value will be nothing but Ka times CH3COOH divided by CH3COO minus. Now if I take the log on both the sides, I can say that log of H positive will be nothing but log of Ka plus log of CH3COOH divided by CH3COO minus. Now if I take minus of log, I can say minus log of H positive will be nothing but minus log of Ka minus log of CH3COOH times by CH3COO minus. So this minus log of H positive is nothing but pH, this is nothing but pKa, and if I want to interconvert the sign, I can say plus log of CH3COO minus divided by CH3COOH. So this is the final equation which we have derived for such a kind of buffer, which is known as acidic buffer, because the buffer is made up of a weak acid and its corresponding salt with a strong base. So I can say the pH will be nothing but pKa plus log of the concentration of salt divided by the concentration of acid. This is another important formula which is very useful in the cases of examination, because in exams many a times you will simply be given that there is a buffer solution which is an acidic buffer, and you will be asked to find what will be the pH of solution. Let's now move ahead to the another category of buffer, which is known as the basic buffers. And I say that the buffer action of basic buffer can be explained. Let's take the following equilibrium. Let's say, for example, there is a salt NH4Cl and I am putting that salt in a weak base NH4OH. So buffer solutions which are basic buffers are a weak base and the corresponding salt of that weak base with any particular strong acid. So I say the equilibrium which are taking place in this case is, you have NH4OH is going to give NH4 positive and OH minus. Then you have NH4Cl will be giving NH4 positive and Cl minus, and water will be giving H positive and OH minus. Now since Cl minus is again coming from a strong acid, so it will not get hydrolyzed in water. The only reaction that will be taking place in this case, I can say that this will be NH4 positive plus water is going to give NH4OH plus H positive. Now if I write the other way round, I can say that the equilibrium taking place is NH4OH is going to get dissolved in water to form NH4 positive plus OH minus. And if I write this thing, I can say Kb will be nothing but the concentration of NH4 positive times concentration of OH minus to be divided by concentration of NH4OH. If I find out the value of OH minus from this case, I can say that it will be Kb times NH4OH to be divided by NH4 positive. Similarly, I can take the log of OH minus here. So this will be log of Kb plus log of NH4OH, and this will be divided by NH4 positive. Now if I do the same way round, I can move ahead for this particular equation, and I can say that the formula that I will be deriving at the end will be POH will be given as pKb plus log of the concentration of salt divided by the concentration of base. Now we have already learned one formula that pH plus POH is equal to 14. So if you know the value of POH, you can very easily find the pH of the solution will be 14 minus POH. Now these were the basic clues how you are going to give up with how you are going to tackle down the questions which will be either of acidic buffers or basic buffers, which were a part of mixed buffers, and how are we going to deal with simple buffers. Now since we have studied a lot about buffers, let's study one more very basic property of a buffer solution, which is known as the buffer capacity. Now what do we mean by buffer capacity? The property of a buffer solution to resist the alteration in its pH value is known as buffer capacity. So I have already told you that any buffer is basically characterized by the way that it will resist a change in its pH value. So that particular property by the virtue of which it resists the alteration in the pH value is known as the buffer capacity. Now buffer capacity can also be defined as the number of moles of acids or base which should be added in 1 liter of the solution to change the pH value of the given solution by unity. That means if you have a particular solution which is at, suppose pH value is equal to X. Now if you are adding the acid or the base to this particular solution, then the number of moles of these acids or base which have to be added to this particular solution so as to change the pH value by unity, either to make the pH as x plus 1 or to make the pH value as x minus 1. So whatever is the number of moles of acid or base required to change the pH value by unity, that is known as buffer capacity. There is a particular formula how you can define the buffer capacity, which is defined as phi, and this is known as buffer capacity. Now this buffer capacity is known as the number of moles of acid or bases which are added per liter of the solution divided by the total change in the pH. This is done so as to calculate what will be the change in unity of the pH. So we say that higher the buffer capacity, higher will be the buffer solution, because this is what we said, that if you are requiring more amount of acid or base to be added to a solution to change its pH of the solution, that means that particular buffer solution is more good. So for maximum buffer capacity of a given buffer concentration of salt, it should be equal to the concentration of acid or the base which we are going to take. So we can say that a buffer solution will work in the buffer range from pH is equal to pKa plus minus 1. Since we have already written an equation where we said that pH will be pKa plus log of concentration of salt by concentration of acid or the concentration of base. This I am considering for the case of an acidic buffer. So I can say if the concentration of salt by concentration of acid is nearly 10:1. So then only we can say that the pH value will be nothing but pKa plus log 10, and log 10 is nothing but 1. So we can say pH is equal to pKa plus 1. And if I consider the second case where the concentration of salt by the concentration of acid will be value of 1 by 10, that is 0.1, then I can say that pH will be nothing but pKa minus 1. So for any buffer to work in a buffer range, the pH range should be pH is equal to pKa plus minus 1. So either it can go 1 unit ahead pKa or it can come 1 unit before pKa, and that particular pH range will be the better range in which a buffer could work. Now we have already considered a lot about buffer solutions, the salt solution. Let's start doing some examples so that we can get a very good confidence that yes, we can do all the types of questions in exams. Let's first of all start with the first question where you have to calculate the pH of a buffer which is prepared by mixing 300 centimeter cube of 0.30 molar ammonia and 500 centimeter cube of 0.5 molar NH4Cl, and we have been given what is the Kb for ammonia. Now we can very easily say that looking at the equation. Let's first of all, what is the total volume of the solution? The total volume of the solution will be 300 plus 500, that is nothing but 800 centimeter cubes. Now we can also say that this is a solution of a weak base and a salt of that weak base with a strong acid. If this is the case, I can very easily find what will be the concentration of NH4 positive or ammonia in the solution, because now earlier the volume of ammonia was 300 centimeter cube. Now the volume of the total solution is 800 centimeter cube. So we can very easily find out what will be the total concentration of NH3 in the solution. We can say that the number of moles will be 300 into 0.3, that is 90 into 10 to the power minus 3, because this is the number of millimoles. So this will be the number of moles. And what will be the volume of solution? That is 800 centimeter cube. If I do the same case for what will be the millimoles of NH4Cl, that will be 500 times 0.5, that is 250 millimoles. So I can very easily find what will be the new concentration of NH4Cl in the solution. Now since we have already told that this is the case of a weak base and the corresponding salt of the weak base with a strong acid, I can very easily use the formula as POH will be minus log of Kb plus log of concentration of salt divided by the concentration of base. If I put the values, we know what is the value of Kb which has been given in the question. We know what is the value of the final concentration of salt, which is 250 millimoles divided by 800 centimeter cubes. We know what is the total final concentration of the base, which is nothing but ammonia in this case. On putting out all these values, we can very easily get that the POH will be coming out to be nearly 5.18. If POH is coming as 5.18, we can find pH will be nothing but 14.0 minus POH will be nothing but 14.0 minus 5.18, and the value comes out to be 8.82. Let's see if such a value is given in the question. So the values which are given in the question are 8.11, no. 9.81, no. 8.82, yes, this is the correct option that has been given to us. So this is the way how we can solve such type of questions, which will be involving a weak base and a corresponding salt of the weak base with a strong acid. Let's now come over to the another question where you have to calculate for 0.01 normal solution of sodium acetate the hydrolysis constant. Now to get to know any such question for this type, what do we actually need is, you have been given the sodium acetate solution. Sodium acetate means you have CH3COONA. So this is CH3CO minus and Na positive. In water, it will get hydrolyzed to form CH3COO negative plus Na positive. Now this is a cation which is coming from a strong base, so this doesn't get hydrolyzed. The only thing which get hydrolyzed is CH3COO minus. So we can say that the reaction taking place is nothing but CH3COO minus plus water is going to give us CH3COOH plus OH minus. Now I can say that this is nothing but how we correlated the hydrolysis constant with the acid dissociation constant and the Kw. And we had already find out the relation as Kh is nothing but Kw by Ka. Now we know Kw for water at 25 degrees Celsius is nothing but 10 to the power minus 14, and Ka for a weak acid CH3COOH is the value which is 1.9 into 10 to the power minus 5. So on solving this equation, we'll get a value to be 5.26 multiplied 10 to the power minus 10. Let's see if such value is given to us. This 5.26 into 10 to the power minus 10. So it's 2.26 into 10 to the power minus 12, no. Oh yeah, so the value given is 5.26 into 10 to the power minus 10. So I can say B is the correct option for this particular question. Let's further come out to the another example that has been given to us. So the example is, how many grams of NH4Cl should be dissolved per liter of solution to have a pH of 5.13, and the Kb for ammonia is given to be 1.8 into 10 to the power minus 5. Now we can say that NH4Cl is a salt of a weak base, that is NH4OH plus a strong acid HCl. Now Kb for ammonia has been given to us as 1.8 into 10 to the power minus 5, and he is saying you have to find out what is the number of grams of NH4Cl that should be dissolved in 1 liter of solution, and he wants that the pH of the final solution should be come out to be 5.13. Now this is again the case where we have already considered in the discussion, so we can always write down the pH as half of pKw minus log of C minus pKb. Now the pKb value has been given to us, the pH has been given to us, we know what is the Kw for water, which is 10 to the power minus 14. If I put all these values, I will be able to get what is the concentration of NH4Cl that should be taken. That means, let us say that the since the pH is given to be 5.13, I can very easily write 5.13 into 2 will be nothing but 10.26, and the value will be 14 minus log of C minus 4.74. So if I solve this particular equation, I'll get the value of C as 10 to the power minus 1 molar. Now this is the concentration of NH4Cl which we are referring to. So I can say that the concentration of NH4Cl that has been given, that should be taken to get a pH of 5.13 is 10 to the power minus 1 molar. Now if this is the concentration of NH4Cl that is to be taken, I can very easily find out what is the weight of NH4Cl that is to be taken will be 10 to the power minus 1 molar into the 53.5 grams per liter. So this is the normal weight of NH4Cl which we are going to take here, and on solving this the answer which will get out to be 5.35 grams per liter. Let's see if this is any option which is given to us. So this is the first option that has been given to us as 5.35 grams per liter. So these were all the kind of questions that we'll get into the exam while we'll be doing the buffer solutions, or we'll be considering the salts of strong acid, strong base, or the other 3 categories of salt. Students, in this particular class we discussed so much about the buffer solutions, how the buffers are going to behave in water, what are the uses of buffer solutions in lab and in the experimental chemistry. Now since we know everything about the chapter, in the next class we'll be trying to discuss about the indicators which we use in the chemistry labs. So like when you do the titration and stuff, you use certain kind of indicators. So in the next class I'll be telling you something about those indicators. Moreover, we'll also have a kind of discussion about the solubility of different salts and the solubility product. So be well prepared till this part of the chapter so that you can enjoy the next part also. By the time, take care. Goodbye.